When we're looking at wildlife, elephants have been freely roaming the streets of Victoria Falls resort town in what some suspect to be a search for mango fruit trees. While this may seem beautiful to see, it has put the lives of residents in danger. Now, just a few days ago, a 60-year-old man was killed by elephants in yet another case of human-wildlife conflict.
Now, this comes as the Zimbabwe National Parks and Wildlife Management, that ZimParks, reported that 60 people were killed by crocodiles and elephants between January and October this year alone, with 40 others left with injuries following attacks by the wild animals.
Now, joining us all the way from Victoria Falls in Zimbabwe, we have Mgcini Moyo, a resident of the resort town. Good morning, Moyo. Welcome to the program. Now, barely a month after a senior anti-game scout was employed by the Victoria Falls anti-poaching unit was trampled to death while on duty, elephants are still roaming the streets. What really is happening?
Well, thank you so much for the invite. Yeah, there has been a certain level of increase in terms of the movements of elephants in our town. But what I understood is that Victoria Falls as a city is located inside 3 national parks. There's Victoria Falls National Park, Wange National Park, and also Shamabondo National Park. As human beings, we more or less came to occupy the natural place where the elephants have always roamed for many years. So you'll discover that most of these elephants, they are more or less sticking to their natural in terms of seeking water in the Zambezi River and also seeking food from different sources. So what we need to do as people that stay inside the national park, we need to strike a balance where we become in harmony with nature and make sure that when the elephants pass by their natural way, we do not interfere or make them angry, because they attack because they feel provoked in many cases. So we need to ensure that we do not make situations where they feel provoked, then they end up attacking and creating this conflict. Oh yes, it's true. They move around looking for mangoes because it is their favorite fruit. Elephants love to eat sweet items, and mangoes is one of their favorite items. So you if you have a lot of mango trees in your house, they will just walk by and enjoy their delicacy. But what is important as residents of Victoria Falls is to ensure that we maintain the space and we live in harmony with the elephants, especially if they have young ones. Those ones, they are very protective, and people must make sure that they don't provoke them to a point of where they respond violently or otherwise.
And Mgcini, you are residents
Yes.
out there in Victoria Falls. How often do you come, across these wildlife animals, on a daily basis? Do you encounter them yourself usually?
Oh yes, a lot. By my house, I always look forward to seeing elephants when I'm driving at night. Then by my office, I know daily I get a visit from baboons. I get a visit from warthogs. Then at times I know just close to my other side in my house, it's around 2 a.m. or so. I know hippos will be walking around looking for fresh grass. Then also I know again that buffaloes will be walking around. So we're now so accustomed to all these wild animals because of the fact that we are in the national park. So at night, they move a bit further away from the Zambezi River. Then they move into residential areas because there is more better options for food. Then the other reason why they also move into residential areas is because they feel a bit safer. There has been an exponential increase in terms of poaching in the national park. So they somehow sense, I don't know the science behind that, but they move a bit inside the residential areas because somehow they know that incidences of poaching, they become better in the residential areas. So that's why you have all this sudden increase of wildlife movement in our areas. they are also seeking protection from normal residents because they are less dangerous. But in that process, they also become more provocative in nature. Yes.
Right. Now, Mgcini, poaching them makes them endangered. Now, as a means to mitigate this continued human-wildlife conflict, countries like Angola, Botswana, Namibia, Zambia, and even Zimbabwe on Thursday launched the first ever CASA-wide coordinated aerial survey. Do you think Zimpax is doing enough to protect the lives of residents?
Oh, yeah, it is. Zimpax is doing what the best that they can. Because we have incidences where residents have conducted Zimpax where they feel that they are in danger, where they identify certain stray dangerous wildlife like buffaloes, and Zimpax has been able to respond. It depends now what is needed, because the response is more or less twofold. It's conservative. You want to conserve the wildlife. At the same time, it's scaling nature. So they use those two particular approaches in terms of those approaches to also balance everything. So yeah, they are capable. Well, they might also need a multi-stakeholder support to fulfill their duty. But so far, in my association, in our meetings, in our operations, I think I've seen them also doing the best that they can. Just that at times you can't control the movements of a wild animal. You can do the best as you can. But I know with wide stakeholder participation from other players, we can find a win-win situation.
Well, the numbers speak for themselves, don't they? More than 60 people killed by crocodiles and elephants this year between January and October. Well, Mgcini, you're a resident, so stay safe out there, and well, just stay safe and stay away from the crocodiles and the elephants, please. Thank you so much, Mgcini Moyo,
for joining us this morning. Thank you so much for having me.
All right.
Okay, thank you so much. Bye-bye.